Well, hello. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Around the Town with Mark. I am Mark Whalen, your host, and you know that we're always glad to have you tune in and visit with us. Well, today I have another very, very interesting guest, very smart lady, and she's going to talk about a very relative topic today. I don't know if you're a homeowner, whether you're buying or selling, or even if you're just renting an apartment. Real estate and what's going on in the real estate market affects us all in one way or the other. And my guest, Lian Obrey, is an expert at real estate. So we're going to be asking her all kinds of questions today and have her share with us all her vast knowledge. So allow me to introduce Lian Obrey, my guest.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Thank you.
Nice to have you today.
Appreciate it.
All right, well, so let's start out by having you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your career and what you do and how long you've been doing it.
My name's Lian Obrey. Most people just know the Lian. I've been in the business since the 1970s, and I love it. I enjoy it. I'm with Remax Legends. I think they named it that because most of us in that company were a little older when we started the company. But primarily, I do this. I do New London County, but I do more in Groton, Mystic, Stonington than I do on the other side of the bridge. But over the years, I have accumulated a lot of knowledge about real estate, and I'm happy to have an opportunity to share a little bit of it today.
Have you pretty much always had your career here in New London County, or are you a transport plant from elsewhere?
I'm a transplant. I came from Dover, New Hampshire is where I grew up. And I married a man in the Navy, and we traveled a lot. But the last time that we came back here, I decided my children were old enough, we had to put down our roots. And I was a nurse originally, but I decided to go back to school, which I did, and decided to take a real estate course, and the rest is history.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're from New Hampshire. I'm from New Hampshire as
Are
well.
you really?
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
Great state.
I was born in Nashua and
Oh, yeah.
grew up in a little mill town called Wilton. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I do.
Do you know
I
what
do.
Wilton?
Yeah.
Wonderful little place. Yeah. So
So-
tell us, what's going on in the real estate market in today's world that people might like to know about? Is it turbulent? Is it?
It's a very different market. We're very low on inventory. It's good for a seller, but sometimes it's bad for a seller because the uncertainty of the market has made it so that if somebody's thinking about selling, they have to think about where am I going to go?
Right.
And with the shortage, it becomes a little bit of a balancing act. You really have to have good guidance in today's market. A good realtor can share with you so much information and get you through the process and get the uncertainty out of your equation, because when people are thinking about it, they're very uncertain about the market.
And it's stressful.
It's very stressful.
It's very stressful.
Very stressful.
Yes.
And so we try to make it so that it's not. We try to make it so that we educate people enough as to what's happening so that we take that stress out. They know it's my job, realtors' jobs, to guide them through and get them over the bumps that we're going to hit.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in my career, I probably haven't hit that. I've hit every bump you could hit. So,
Okay.
so I know how to take care of them. But it's actually, the state is being very active to help people buy right now, especially first-time buyers. But they have a new program. We have a program called Connecticut Housing Finance Authority. And that's actually a program that Jimmy Carter started. Mm. And what they do is they sell tax-free bonds to raise money to lend to people. Now, CHFA has no guidelines, so they attach themselves either to a VA, FHA, or conventional. Now, along with that program, they have now come up with where they will lend you $25,000.
Oh.
That does not have to be paid unless you sell your home before the natural progression on the value of your home was to be a problem. Each year that you're living in the home, 1,500, I think if I'm correct, is passed away, goes
Okay.
away. So it's a wonderful time for somebody to get into the market. You can also add to that what's called DPA, which is down payment assistance, which can pay your closing costs and et cetera. So for a first-time buyer, that's a wonderful program. There are programs for everybody, though.
Okay.
If you're buying your second home or going from your home to a condo or whatever, it's possible. It's very possible. And the interest rates are not really prohibitive. We're probably running somewheres in the 6, low 7s, but every lender offers right now an adjustable mortgage. So as in the past, when we hit markets like this, you go with an adjustable, might be 3 years, 5 years, and somewhere in that time you'll refinance and get a long-term level loan.
Okay, that's important.
Yeah. So the big thing is to find an agent that you trust, you feel comfortable with. You want to find a good lender. And if you go to the realtor first, they know, in your case, after we've talked a little bit, know what the circumstances are. We can even help direct them to somebody that would be very good for them.
For their particular needs and their situation, their credit
Exactly.
ratings and all those types of things.
Because until they have a pre-approval, they can't even step into the market.
Right.
It's when a house comes up that you want, you have to be prepared. Now, it used to be that a pre-approval would be adequate. Really isn't anymore.
Really?
Now what you have to do is you find a lender, and many of them are doing this, that will give you a full approval.
Oh.
They'll go through the whole process. You'll have an approval contingent on the appraisal. So when you put in a contract, there's only one contingency. Now, there might be another for a home inspection, but in today's market, unless it's something very serious, you don't want to go down that road.
Really? Okay.
Because of the shortage. Another thing that's kind of hard in our market is it used to be, if you were young, it was okay to buy a house you were going to work on. The clientele is different now. The younger people are interested in so many other things other than home ownership, truly, that they're not interested in fixing a house up.
Okay.
So quite honestly, what's kept our market moving as well as it has in this area is companies that come in and buy a house that's in bad shape, fix it up, and put it back on the market. Our flippers have really kept our market healthier than it would be.
Surely. Okay.
So tell me some of your questions, and I'll try to answer them, because I want to hit some of the other things.
Well, you talked about, well, I was just asking, are people in the current economy, are you finding them afraid to enter the market, or is?
Yes. Well, one of the things is, because prices are higher because of the fact that people want to buy, not that many people selling, so the people that are selling can sell high. But what you want to remember is what I've always told people. If you're looking for an investment, go see a stockbroker.
Okay.
If you're looking for a home, then you don't worry about it, because the market's going to change again.
Sure.
It may go down, and you might be upside down. But if you're staying long enough, everything changes. And there'll be a time that you'll be comfortable to do whatever you want to do. But we need to have more people that are willing to work on homes.
All right, and that's, I understand that, because there was once a time I remember when people always thought, well, I'm just going to buy this house and stay in it for a little while, fix it up, and then I'm going to make a killing, and it's going to be easy, and then I'll move on to something else. And
Right.
That's probably not really the case any longer.
No, it isn't. Sometimes it happens, just the way the market goes. All of a sudden you find that your house has a higher value than you thought it would ever have. So then if you decide you want to sell it and reinvest, fine. Just have a good realtor to guide you through the process.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, does it vary a lot by, I mean, I'm sure it is, Groton to Mystic to Stonington, all of those, every area has its own demographics and price ranges and things. But do you find that waterfront properties are still the desire of everyone to have?
Well, they certainly still are desirable, and their prices have not fluctuated too badly.
Okay.
So there's certainly still a clientele that is at a point in their life that they can enjoy that waterfront home.
And willing to pay that little bit of extra for
Yeah.
the privilege of
Yeah.
a water view
And they, quite honestly, they have to be pretty well set because they're going to have to pay for flood insurance, which has become expensive. And the taxes are higher on waterfront in this area. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you happen to look at it, they tax by your frontage
Okay,
on your property. So it's going to take the taxes higher.
sure.
So,
All right.
but if you've reached that point in your life, we have some beautiful, beautiful properties that you can buy and have that glorious home.
There's been recent concern about the rise and the tides and being constantly higher, and saying that in the future it's only going to get more of a problem. Are you finding that to be of concern now of people that both own and want to sell or buy a waterfront house?
Absolutely. If I list a waterfront property, one of the very first things I do is get a quote for the insurance that's required.
Okay,
Now, if you're paying cash, you can say, I don't want it.
sure. Okay.
I think it would be foolish, but some people do self-insure
Okay.
because it has become so expensive. And certainly there will be some homes that are going to have to go up and be higher.
And we mean not price-wise, but be raised up above
The building
raised itself. Yeah.
has to be raised up.
Yeah.
So again, if you come in, and a lot of times in properties like that, they're just paying cash. So it's not quite as stringent. If you were going into a house on waterfront and you were looking for a bank loan, they're going to have some requirements.
Okay.
And so again, it always comes back to the situation. If you've got a good realtor to guide you, they'll help you to know what you need and what you don't need.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, from what you're telling me so far, you're telling me a lot of things that I wasn't so sure of, and you certainly have convinced me already, all the way this far in the interview, that realtors are very, very important and
Definitely.
to guide you through so you don't make bad mistakes and
Right.
get yourself involved in something that you say, oh my gosh, now what am I going to do?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And we can make that process just so much more comfortable for people. And the biggest thing is on the part of buyers, you have to be patient, and you really have to expand your area. If you come in and say, look, I only want to live in Mystic, well, the prices are higher and there's less on the market. So you've got to be a very strong buyer, and if something comes up, you've got to be willing to go right that moment. And you might very well end up paying more for it than what it's on the market for. Now, if you go out of the area a little bit and a house comes on, you have a better chance of getting it because the demand's not quite the same.
Sure.
In fact, I would almost venture to say the outlying areas are doing better than the immediate areas
Are they?
here.
Okay.
Yeah. Prices are still, I think, reasonable. They're nice homes, nice lots, but there's a little bit of drive involved.
Sure. Sure. And then some of those areas that we're talking about around the city of Groton and Mystic, you also have to be concerned about whether or not they live in a historic district, which brings in a whole nother list of restrictions and things that you have to can or cannot do.
Yeah. I don't think it's quite as prohibitive in the city of Groton as
Okay.
it is in Mystic.
Okay.
But I think both groups that you have to work with are understanding of things that are practical that have to be done.
Yeah.
And I think that I think they're very good to work with. They're probably going to educate you quite a bit if you haven't already educated yourself on what is a historic home and what
Yes.
has to stay.
I was chairperson actually for many years of the City of Groton Historic District.
Ah,
So, and it was very important for us to work with the homeowner, not against the homeowner. These are rules. We wanted to do whatever we could to make what they wanted to have happen.
Right.
Sometimes it had to come with restrictions, especially when it came to things like solar panels and those things. It had to be out of view and those types of things. But it's
Yeah.
most historic districts, I would think, try to really work with the consumer. And
I think so.
And
I definitely think
yeah.
so. In the city, it's kind of funny because your map is crazy as to what's historic and what isn't
it
historic.
is. It
You
is.
know, we got one here, it is, one here, it isn't. You know?
And a lot of people say, well, that house that's in the historic district, it's not an historic house.
No,
You know, not at
Yeah.
all. It's only 30 years old. Why, you know, and people say, why should I have to live by the rules? Well,
exactly.
you do,
Yep,
because you are within the district. So
right.
whether your house is 30 years old or 130 years old.
I think that something that has to happen in Groton that will make things a lot easier. We have been delayed in Groton. The council decided that they felt that the process was not correct for vetting new developers. And so they stopped it, and there's a committee now that's working on new provisions. But unfortunately, it's shut down most anything that we could do with any of the empty schools for about a year. And most of those are going to, I think some of them, not all of them, are going to be absolutely beautiful apartments and condos.
That's a good segue into what I was going to bring up next, was that I understand that EB and even Pfizer, they're bringing in thousands of people.
Right.
And these people are going to have somewhere to go. And I read recently in the day that a lot of hotels and schools are being repurposed
Right.
into apartments.
Yeah. Colonel Ledyard School is a good example of that. We have a wonderful developer down there. I don't think of his name right now, even though I've known him for a long time. But he's recreating the building that was there, and then he's going to do 2 more buildings behind it. And those will be perfect because from there you can walk. Do you know where Colonel Ledyard is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
From there you can walk to EB, you can walk to Pfizer. There's a
Yes.
bus that goes by. I mean, it's going to be very, very nice. And that one is ongoing, which is very good. We have another one that if we can, unfortunately somebody decided to sue the town, the planning and, not the planning, the zoning.
Zoning. Yeah.
Yes, and so it's held it up. But where William Seeley School was, there's a beautiful project that's going to go up there. And it's so much nicer. It has amenities that are much nicer than what you normally get with something like that. I think, personally, for what it's worth, we'll see a lot of older retired people want to move there because it
Okay.
has everything that they'd like to have
Yeah.
on site.
All right.
And I think that's going to be a wonderful opportunity once we're able to start getting it built
Sure.
and get it open to the
Sure.
public.
Yeah, it's going to take time to do all these conversions.
Yes,
and
it is.
It's going to take.
Yes, it is.
It's going to take quite a long time, and I don't know what the time frame is for EB hiring all these people, but I
They're
imagine
doing it every day.
So that's
Yeah,
it's,
they're going all over the country looking for people.
wow.
So
And
it's
those people have to have some place to live when they get here.
yeah. Up by the Groton Motor Inn, there was a Holiday Inn, maybe, I'm not sure the name of it. They've converted that over now
Okay.
to apartments. So lots of people are doing things to try to
Good.
make it more functional for the kind of market that we have today.
We don't have a lot of open space left in this area, really, do we? Because I was going to bring up the subject of what about people that want to buy a piece of property and build the house themselves? That's
it's
going to be kind
interesting.
of difficult.
Interesting you would say that, because we actually have open space, but we don't have water and sewer.
Oh, okay.
And right now, the Economic Development Committee, which Bob oh, I can't think of his last name, but anyways, he's the chairman of it.
He'll forgive you.
Yeah. And they're having a meeting this Thursday night, and it would be at 5:30 at the annex. And what they're trying to promote, and they're asking people to come and talk about it, is running sewers out to the intersection of 117 and 184.
Oh, all right.
We had a developer that wanted to do a very large project out there. It was really, really good. Not the one up in Mystic.
Right.
But this one was going to be condos, it was going to be single-family houses, it was going to be rentals, and then there was going to be a area where there would be stores and so forth. But I think one of the problems, I don't know for sure, was the fact that there was no sewers.
Okay.
And, so hopefully people will come out Thursday night and come to that meeting and have, that can see that we need to open that area. Up there, we do have properties that could be developed.
Okay.
And we have properties that could be improved, so I think that's real important to try to make that happen.
Yeah, I've driven down by where the Mystic Marriott is, and some of those, and you see some small homes on some humongous lots.
Yeah, yeah.
That I would think would be prime for somebody to come in and put 2 or 3 more houses on that.
Well, see, right now, the sewer lines end at the Marriott.
So that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
If we can run it out to 184,
Yep.
then you'll see that area begin to develop.
Okay.
But your town has to make it attractive to people to come and build. And it's real important that we present this. I'm not on the committee, so don't misunderstand. I'm a representative from the RTM that goes to their meetings.
Okay.
And but if we can get enough interest and then go and make a presentation to the council on the importance of having it happen, it's going to open up a whole new area for Groton.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I imagine you probably work a lot with the local municipalities,
I do.
like the
I
city
do.
of Groton and the town of Groton, obviously, which you
Yeah.
just mentioned.
And I'll tell you, I think the planning departments in both are outstanding. Sometimes their hands are tied by what people think they want in their backyard.
Okay.
And like with William Seeley, it was absolutely done the way that it should have been done. It was approved, and then somebody stepped forward and made it so it can't go forward. And
Okay.
that's...
So it could be a neighbor or other resident that says, wait a minute, I don't want that in my backyard.
Yep, absolutely. And I understand, change is hard.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things, most people are in their home, they bought it because of where it was, they like what's around it, and now you say, well, we've got to put something else there.
Yeah.
And so that's when you've got to try to have good conversations between the developer and the people that live there. So, and then again, you'll usually see a good realtor that's involved trying to help it move along.
Mm-hmm.
So we do all kinds of things.
I was going to say, we've got a good realtor sitting right here.
Well, I had mentioned to you, and I want to mention to everybody that
Yes, please.
I'm very, very lucky that Jennifer Obrey, who's my daughter-in-law, has joined me, and so the Obrey name will continue on. She's a beautiful woman. She's an excellent agent, and so you get 2 for the price of 1.
So I'm going to say, now it's a team.
That's it. That's
Excellent,
it.
excellent. Well,
Yeah.
we're down to our last 4 or 5 minutes. Is
Okay.
there any topics that I haven't brought up that you would like to mention while we have a few minutes left?
Well, I think what I'd like to say, if somebody doesn't get what they feel they should from a realtor, please know we have our Southeastern Connecticut Board of Realtors, and we have a grievance process.
Okay.
So if something doesn't go well, contact them. We don't want bad realtors,
Of course not.
but we don't know sometimes the things that are happening.
Right.
So reach out, and you will find assistance, and you will feel a whole lot better because you're able to express what went wrong.
Do you recommend that, I guess this could be true for a buyer or a seller, that they interview several agents before they choose the one that might fit them the best?
Absolutely. If you're going to sell your home, try to find 2 or 3 that are good in your area, have done in your area, and then interview them.
Sure.
And you're going to feel particularly comfortable with one of them out of the group, I'm quite sure.
Yeah.
It's just like when you're thinking about buying a home and you're going to talk to lenders, talk to more than one lender, because, you know, some banks only have their own programs. Some mortgage brokers have a bigger array. They're all very good, but some limitations are there. So you want to do your shopping also, or talk to your realtor and say, okay, who's the 3 I should talk to?
Yep.
And we can say to you, look, for what you want to do and the particular type of financing you want to do, these are the people you want to talk to.
Yeah, I think it would be very important when someone is looking for a realtor that, you know, obviously they want someone with experience, someone who knows how to go in and out of all these different avenues of lending and so forth, and knowledge of the area. But also it comes down to sometimes just basic personality.
Absolutely.
You have to like that person and know that you have a good rapport with that person, because you're working with that person for quite a while.
Yeah, you've got to feel comfortable. You've got to trust each other. And if that's not there, as it goes on, it's going to get worse. So you do want to pick somebody that you feel has the knowledge, that you feel comfortable with. And do remember, if it isn't working, you can talk to your realtor. They don't like to have it happen. Certainly, I would never want to have it happen, but you can end your contract because you have a contract now on either side, whether you're buying or selling. You have a contract with your realtor.
Okay.
They can't do anything for you without that agreement.
Okay. And I suppose, like any contract, you can negotiate what goes into that contract as far as how long that contract is going to be valid, and expectations perhaps of performance and
absolutely.
You know, whether or not you want to have open houses or not. I've sold a lot of houses, and realtors weren't happy with the fact that I didn't want an open house. I didn't want people roaming through my house out of curiosity.
It's got to be what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
And that's why you talk about all these different things, and they'll tell you what works and what doesn't work for them, and then you go forward.
Yeah, there's so many parts of...
There are. I could talk for ever about real estate, but...
Yeah, it's a ride.
It is, but I do love it.
Well, Lian, I want to thank you so much for coming today and sharing your vast experience with my audience.
Happy to do it.
And I'm sure people are going to be thankful that they've tuned in to listen to you.
I hope so.
You know, they watch us on YouTube, and if you want, take notes.
Absolutely.
Call Lian Obrey. She's great. So.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I want to thank my viewers for tuning in today at Around the Town with Mark. And thank you for supporting the studio here at SEC TV in downtown Groton. It's greatly appreciated. It is a nonprofit organization. And I hope that you're going to tune back in with Around the Town with Mark very soon. And again, call Lian Obrey if you're looking to buy or sell. And thank you very much. We'll see you again soon.